Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News, an Indian perspective on All India Radio. This is Abhijit Lorang bringing glimpses of major developments of the day from across the globe. The headlines: India launches property card scheme to aid millions of rural households. Nepal opposition accuses China of encroaching on land in Humla region. UAE says Turkey's military presence in Qatar poses emergency to Gulf nations. Kyrgyzstan parliament unanimously elects Sadr Japarov as new prime minister. WHO chief says COVID-19 vaccines will be allocated based on principles agreed by ACT Accelerator and its partners. And in tennis, Rafael Nadal defeats Novak Djokovic to lift his 13th French Open title, claims record equaling 20th Grand Slam. Prime Minister of India Narendra Modi launched a property card scheme to aid the rural households in the country. While launching the scheme Swamitwa through video conferencing, Mr. Modi said that it would provide clarity of property rights in villages and enable farmers to use their property as collateral for loans from financial institutions. He said the scheme is a historic effort towards rural transformation and will empower millions of people. The Prime Minister said India plans to use drone technology to map land parcels in rural areas and cover more than 6 million villages over the next 4 years.
भारत जैसे विकासशील देश के लिए ये बहुत जरूरी है कि लोगों के पास उनकी संपत्ति का सही रिकॉर्ड हो। लेकिन अब ये आने के बाद एक नए विश्वास वाली जिंदगी उनकी शुरू होने वाली है। स्वामित्व योजना और इसके तहत मिलने वाला प्रॉपर्टी कार्ड इसी दिशा में, इसी सोच के दलित हो, पीड़ित हो, शोषित हो, वंचित हो, अनपढ़ हो, गांव में रहता हो, उनकी भलाई के लिए इतना बड़ा कदम उठाया।
A Nepali opposition leader has accused China of encroaching on Nepali land in Humla district. Jeevan Bahadur Sahi, leader of opposition of Karnali province, added that Beijing has started constructing structures on the encroached land. Mr. Bahadur Shahi said that people are suffering due to Chinese presence in Humla area and accused Beijing of suspension of permission to the trucks laden with food supply. Meanwhile, the Nepal government has denied the allegations. The United States National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien has lambasted at China, saying that it has attempted to seize control of the LAC with India by force as part of its territorial aggression. He said the time has come to accept that dialogue and agreements will not make China change its aggressive behavior. The UAE Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Anwar Gargash, said that Turkey's military presence in Qatar contributes to negative polarization in the region and poses an emergency to the Gulf nations. Turkey has recently opened military base in Doha. The military base, hosting about 5,000 Turkish soldiers, represents the increasing affinity between Ankara and Doha in recent years. The members of Kyrgyzstan parliament have unanimously approved the appointment of Sadr Japarov as the new prime minister of the country. Mr. Japarov pledged that he had no plans to change the composition and structure of a new government. He promised not to contest in the coming parliamentary election and vowed not to persecute his political opponents. This comes amid a political crisis in the nation after the parliamentary elections were declared invalid following violent protests against an unfair general election. U.S. President Donald Trump is eager to get back on the campaign trail after an absence of more than a week. He plans to participate in rallies in Florida, Pennsylvania and Iowa. The White House doctor has said that President is no longer at risk of transmitting the coronavirus, but did not say explicitly whether Trump had tested negative for it. Responding to it, Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden said that he hoped the president and his supporters were taking precautions. This is All India Radio, giving you the world news. Now let's take a look at the coronavirus updates. According to WHO data, the number of infected cases has crossed 36.99 million worldwide. Saudi Arabia reopened Mecca for a scaled-down Umrah pilgrimage after a 7-month pause. The Indonesian capital of Jakarta will ease coronavirus curbs from Monday after the pace of infection slowed over the last 2 weeks. Australian Prime Minister said that they are in talks with Japan, South Korea, Singapore and South Pacific nations on reopening travel as coronavirus infections ease in the country. In India, COVID-19 recovery rate has improved to 86.17%. the country achieved a landmark of over 6 million recoveries from COVID-19 infection. WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus has said when safe and effective COVID-19 vaccines are ready, they will be allocated based on principles agreed by the ACT Accelerator and its partners. He added that it is to be ensured that essential and vulnerable populations are protected first and that initial supplies are used wisely. Mr. Ghebreyesus informed that over 170 countries and economies representing more than 90% of the Earth, globe, Europe, Africa's population have joined forces in the COVAX facility till date. The COVAX facility stands for safe development and equitable and smart prioritization of eventual COVID-19 vaccines. Today is International Day of the Girl Child. The day focuses attention on the need to address the challenges girls face and to promote girls' empowerment and the fulfillment of their human rights. Speaking on the occasion, WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said that the health and well-being of girls is a priority for WHO.
Today is the International Day of the Girl, a day to celebrate the importance, power and potential of girls around the world. The health and well-being of girls is a priority for WHO. We have to come together to improve the lives and health of girls. But girls themselves must be at the center of that effort. Girls are change makers, not only for their own health, but for the health of their families, communities and societies.
In an exclusive interview with AIR News, a resident representative for United Nations Population Fund, India and the country Bhutan, Ms. Argentina Mataval has said the United Nations hotline mechanism is providing mental support to young population during this pandemic time.
United Nations really early on partnered with government, be it at the central or state level, to make sure that key services did not stop. And of course I speak now on behalf of my colleagues who work on education like UNESCO, UNICEF, to make sure, for example, that number one, the education continued to happen even under lockdown. That's why you then have all these, we welcome the government's decision to provide online courses. The United Nations also put in place hotlines, which were already some in existence, but we made sure that they did not stop providing mental support for young people.
Casting shadows on the efficacy of the truce in Nagorno-Karabakh conflict zone, Azerbaijan and Armenian forces continue to target civilian areas in the region. Both sides accused each other of serious violations and crime against civilians. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres urged both sides that the ceasefire must be respected. He appealed to the international community to support the ceasefire agreement and continue to encourage the parties to resolve their differences through peaceful means. Environment Minister of India Prakash Javadekar on Sunday informed that all 8 beaches recommended by the government has got the coveted International Blue Flag certification. The iconic blue flag is one of the world's most recognized voluntary awards for beaches, marinas and sustainable boating tourism operators. In tennis, Rafael Nadal defeated Novak Djokovic in straight sets 6-0, 6-2, 7-5 in the French Open 2020 final to lift his 13th French Open title and equal Roger Federer's record of 20 Grand Slam titles. In Indian Premier League cricket, Delhi Capitals set a target of 162 runs for 4 wickets in their stipulated 20 overs. In its reply, Mumbai Indians have scored 116 for 2 wickets in 14 overs as per the latest updates. India is celebrating the 151st birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. Before we end, let us listen to Vaishnavi Jan by artists from Morocco.
वैष्णव जाना तो तेरी कहिए चे बीद पाराई जानी रे पर दुखे उपकार करे तो ये मानन अभिमान नारी रे.
And with that, we end this bulletin. See you at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of the World News.